Welcome back to Homelands on CFCR 90.5 FM in Saskatoon, Homelands of the Métis and Treaty 6 territory. You can join us every second Saturday morning at 10 a.m. And you can also catch up on our YouTube channel or follow our Facebook page, Homelands Saskatoon SK. Look for the picture of the Batoche Church in winter. And now back to our guest, Danny Knight, or as I accidentally call him before the break, Danny White. It's a big reveal. I'm just kidding. So we were talking about the feather and kind of how season one came along, and that's really cool. Like I didn't know that story about the pitch contest and everything like that. Like that must have
Mm.
been intense. Like how many different projects were vying for that? Did you guys have to go to Toronto, or kind of where did you how did it all unfold?
Well, there was eight other applicants for the competition, and it was during like the year of the lockdown, so we actually couldn't go to Imaginative that year. We just had to like do everything from our computers and stuff like that. But the lockdown had ended, and then the next year we were invited to go to APTN to do after we had filmed and produced the season. We were able to go premiere it there and be a part of the industry. And also, a really cool thing was because we won because we had won the pitch competition, we got two passes to the Toronto International Film Festival. So me and Sean went down as representatives of the Feather and got to see all these really cool movies and all these really cool industry people and all these cool industry meetings. And it was just like a really like wild and amazing time. But yeah, but doing the competition, it was very. I don't think we were very stressed out about it because we were like, well, like us applying for it was just kind of like, oh, we'll just apply for it, whatever. We were kind of just having fun doing it on our own. We didn't think we were going to win, but we didn't think we were going to win. We did put a lot of hard work into the application and the pitch and stuff like that, but we just didn't have any sort of like stakes tied to it with our personal lives or anything like that. So we just had a lot of fun doing it, and when we won, we were just so surprised. We were like, "What?" We because the other projects that had pitched were really strong and really cool and really serious, like exposés on Indigenous identity and all this really cool stuff. And we're like, "Well, these guys got like amazing art projects that we're not gonna match up to." But for whatever reason, comedy won the day that year.
At the last laugh.
Oh, yes, we had the last laugh. I said that, not you. Just kidding.
Go ahead, steal my lines. Um, yeah, that is really neat. So tell me, kind of like update me with the feather. Like what season are you guys in now? Kind of what have you guys learned along the way? And do you like are you looking at doing this kind of long term, or is it hard to come up with material? Like what's kind of the challenges?
Well, I'll start with the first couple bit of the questions, and we'll get into challenges later.
Yeah.
We finished production of season two early this year, I think in January. We had filmed all of season two here in Saskatchewan in Saskatoon during the month of June. We have a mandate to stay here in Saskatchewan and to grow the Saskatchewan industry, and we like to employ Saskatchewan people, and we like to work with Saskatchewan artists because we believe that Saskatchewan has its very own unique view, especially being like a person who is not conservative in Saskatchewan. We're kind of in the heart of the beast or whatever, in the middle of the beast layer, like, we're in hostile territory. And not that I'm saying conservatives are bad, it's just our political ideologies don't necessarily line up with most people who live in Saskatchewan. So it gives us a very unique view of the world, I believe. So yeah, we want to stay here. We love it here. Filming here took place over 4 weeks. So we shot 6 episodes in 4 weeks, which was a freaking grind. And I had directed 4 of the 6 episodes that we had, and and also was one of the main, I guess we call them stars of the show. We had like a main cast, which was of me, Sean Cuthand, Dalton Lightfoot, Elizabeth Nepchuk, Nathan Copins, and Lanny McDonald, and Lyndon Linklater, actually, too. So it's this awesome cast. It's really beautiful to have all those people who we worked with, as well as side characters on the show. I think we ended up employing about 100 people in the month of June. So it was a so we went
Amazing.
yeah, so we went from like a production staff of like 4 to 5 people to a production staff of like 30 people, and then like worked with like 70 different actors in Saskatchewan, here in Saskatoon. So that in itself was incredibly rewarding for all of us to just be able to create this thing and then share this thing with so many people in our community, Indigenous and non-Indigenous, right? So that was really cool and really beautiful. But
What kind of
we
character
worked
did
hard.
what kind of character did Lyndon Linklater play? Was he playing himself or was he like,
I can't say.
can't give it away, it's a
I
spoiler.
can't say right now. We're within an NDA with APTN, a
Okay,
non-disclosure
okay.
agreement. So in June you'll find out what
Tune
Lyndon
in.
Linklater does. But you're gonna love it. You're gonna love Lyndon Linklater. You're gonna love Dalton Lightfoot. You're gonna love Elizabeth Nepchuk. You're gonna love Lanny McDonald. All these guys. It's so funny when you're writing characters and you're writing scripts. You just think that you think you know who's going to pop off and who's going to be funny, but when you put a person behind those lines and you put lights on them, and the things that come out of them, you're like, oh my God, like this person's going to steal the show. Like Danny Knight and Sean Connery are not the stars of the show. Like these guys are so amazing. Yeah, everybody does such a wonderful, wonderful, hilarious job, and I'm so proud of them. Yeah, so we did that, and yeah, we were working hard. When you're directing a show and being and one of the main cast of the show, like you're working like 16-hour days because you got to show up, be there, direct the scenes, be in your scenes, and then that's like 8 hours a day if you're lucky. And then afterwards, as a director, you got to plan for the next day. You got to know your script. You got to tell everybody what to do. So yeah, it's like it was an intense work month for me, but it was so worth it. And when it comes to like the different practices that I do, I think directing is probably my favorite. Even though it deals with the most work, it's just the most funnest thing ever, ever.
That is really cool. So is that something you imagined yourself doing at any point up to when it started happening, or was it a goal,
Uh,
or did it just kind of organically happen because you had to do it?
yeah, actually, I have to credit it to Jennifer Bishop, the old the old artistic director of the Gordon Chisney Theater. She had commissioned me, Ryan, Dakota Ray Hebert to write a play called Leave It to Weavers. And so we wrote it together. It was a really amazing experience, super fun. There's a play about a family who has to save Christmas because they kind of messed up Christmas. It's really hilarious. It was actually, we put it on during the height of the pandemic and nobody got to see it because of all the restrictions. But then last year, Jen remounted it, so we got to share it with the community, and that was really cool. So after we had wrote it, she actually approached me. She's like, "Hey, Danny, I really like all your work you do as an actor. Have you ever thought of directing?" And I was like, yeah, I've thought of directing, but like never took it serious." And she's like, "Well, do you want to direct this play?" And I was like, "Oh, the one I wrote? For sure, I'm in 100%." And that experience was a tough one because I didn't like I took in some directing classes and some workshops, but I didn't know all the work that you have to do to be a director. And it was my first time doing it, and I didn't there was no sort of like mentee or mentor relationship, so that was something I had to pursue on my own. So when I got the script, well, not when I got the script, but when it was all finalized, my contract, I approached a bunch of different directors in Saskatoon, talked to them about what it takes to be a director, what you need to watch out for, what are some tips. Kind of got like a crash course on directing from some really great people. Kent Allen being one of them. Gabriel, he used to be the general manager of Le Troupe du Jour. Oh, he's in our Feather season one. I can't remember his last name, but Gabriel, he's really amazing. And then Joshua Beaudry. They all came. We had a lot of talks. They kind of mentored me on the side, and then they came in and I would invite a director each week. We had rehearsals, and we would do a run, and they'd watch the show that I was directing, and then give me a bunch of notes. So every week I got like this like sage like advice from each one of those people, and
The
yeah.
Gabrielle Dufresne?
Yeah. Gabriel Dufresne. Yeah. Super cool guy. I love him so much. And then as I was directing the show, it was really reminiscent of me being a child. I remember I was one of those kids who like played with toys until he was like 13 for way too long. You know what I mean? But just like there was that nostalgic feeling of like playing with toys, but you're playing with actors and people, and you got to create this cool vision and stuff like that. So I fell in love with it right then and there, and it's probably my most favorite thing to do is directing now. I love acting still, but yeah, directing. If I goes directing, comedy, acting, music, I think is the hierarchy of how much I love these things. But as an artist in Saskatchewan, you have to do more than one thing, so I'm happy to do all of those things. Yeah, and then so back. Oh, sorry, this is a big tangent. Going back to the feather. So we finished after you did filming. We did post production for about 6 months, and that's its whole own beast. Like color grading, getting the right cuts, getting the right takes, getting the right sounds, making sure that we can say this. It has to go through all these like checks and balances with lawyers and other contracts and stuff like that. And you have to review. Like I think I've watched each episode now close to like 30 times, like going through edits and cuts and stuff like that. So I like really know the material in and out. But yeah, and I still love it, which is hilarious. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but we'll find out when everybody else gets to see it. Yeah, yeah.
Wow. And some of the challenges of writing the material, like
Right.
do you run out of funny stuff to say? I mean, probably not, but I mean, like what kind of challenges did you have, or were there any roadblocks or difficulties, obstacles?
Yeah, right. Well, that all depends. Like writing with Ryan, Muskwa, and Sean is like a dream. We're all friends first, right? And then we became professional colleagues afterwards. So we're all very comfortable with one another. We all respect one another, and we all love one another. And we all, because those foundations of love, respect, and trust are in there. When it comes to giving notes or critiques, it's doesn't at all feel like there's no malice in those sessions, right? And it's always making a better product. So working with them, there's when it comes to writing, there's barely hardly any challenges, and coming up with ideas is something that we like. I guess facing a lack of ideas is something that's not something we deal with, I guess, because as an Indigenous person looking out into the world we live in today, there's so many things that happen in your daily life that you can write about. And so there's a wealth of material there, and there's so many stories that are untold that there's a wealth of knowledge there. So that's something that we don't struggle with. But I have written for other TV shows with other writers that I don't really know, with other writers that have different ideas of what's funny and stuff like that. So I remember I was working on this show, and when you do a writer's room, you do it together with all the writers, and then you get sent off on your own to actually like you create the beats of the story, the character archetypes, all that stuff you do together. But then when all that stuff is all said and done, then you get sent away to write your episode in the format that they want. So I remember I got on my beat board. I have all my ideas. I had like an extensive like 6 to 7 to 8 pages of notes to write this script, and I wrote it, and I handed it in, and I handed it in like I think everybody had handed theirs in a day early, and I handed mine in on the deadline, and everybody's got approved. Then mine got sent back and with a bunch of notes, and then so I took those notes, I rewrote it, sent it back to the head writer, and again got denied, sent back, got denied, sent back. I think I ended up working a whole full week on that, and the end product, the writer just actually didn't like what I did in the end, and I was like, well, what's happening? So I don't understand. I thought I had done the assignment correctly, but it's just one of those things where if a writer doesn't trust you, if a head writer doesn't respect you, like none of your work is gonna ever gonna be good enough, I think, is what happened. So I think that writer just didn't get along with me and then was just kind of dismissive of my work. But that's how it works sometimes. And it's just that's the thing with all arts, right? And you got to deal with rejection, and you got to have thick skin, and you got to keep pushing forward. So yeah. And then I worked with other writers this one writer who's really great. His name's Trevor Cameron. He's like kind of a writer mentor for me, and he when he would give notes, and I'd take his notes and give them back, it would there was a resonance there. So it was somebody that over the writing course for writing for him, there we grew that mutual trust and respect for one another, and that was a really beautiful experience. So shout out to Trevor Cameron for being cool as cheese.
It's really cool that all the different interactions. It's kind of nice to have like a difficult story. Like it hasn't always been easy, right? Like there's
Yeah.
times where it just doesn't click, and other times where it does, or you and they're all growth. And like you say, it's part of being an artist. Yeah. So I don't know what else. What advice do you have for people who want to maybe get into the industry, get into film, uh get into acting, get into music, get into comedy?
Well, depending, I guess. If you want to get into acting, go get some training.
Yeah. Want to get into music, practice, practice, practice.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely. Some skills you'll need that are not like technical skills as an actor is you'll need interpersonal skills. You need to be friendly, you need to be punctual, you need to have thick skin, you know what I mean? Like in all arts you need to have thick skin. There is this like urban legend of like the diva artist who is such a powerful, masterful performer that they can get away with being a bad person to a lot of people. You hear stories about like Christian Bale or like Tom Hardy or who's that? Another Shia LaBeouf of them. Just really terrible people who are such amazing performers. Like that, being able to work in the arts and provide for yourself. That's like a one in like 1,000 kind of thing, right? Being able to pop off and be famous. That's like 1 in 1 million. To be able to be a jerk and as an artist, that's like 1 in 1 billion chance, right? So if you want to be a successful artist, you got to be a good person. You know what I mean? You got to know how to treat people. You got to know how to respect people and how to give and show respect. Because a lot of industries are just like it's all networking, and if you have a bad reputation for someone who's kind of mean, no one's going to want to work with you. If you have a reputation for not being a hard person to work with, no one's going to want to work with you. So so if you want to be an artist, an actor, anything, you got to be a good person. You got to be friendly, and you got to have a lot of love in your heart for a lot of the things you do and for the people you know.
That's great advice. And I don't think I've ever heard anybody talk about that, but it makes so much sense, right? Because that's kind of the glue that holds all these performance pieces together is like being able to get along with everybody and basically play nicely in the sandbox kind of thing. So yeah.
If you want to be a successful comedian, you got to write, and you gotta grind. Being a comedian, it's just like music. All the work happens in bars and at night. You know what I mean? And if you write a joke that's not funny, it's not the audience's fault that it's not funny. You know what I mean? It's your fault. If you think it's funny, that means you made a mistake in your writing. So you got to rewrite your jokes. And then once you have a joke is solid in its writing, then you got to work on performing it too. You know what I mean? Like being a comedian, there's aspects of being an actor. So, what if I say this line kind of scared? What if I say this line super confident? You got to figure out the right ways to say the line to get the biggest punch. So it's a lot of work, and it's a lot of work for free. So if you want to be a comedian, you got to get out there. You got to hit an open mic. You got to, I guess for all artists, like you can't be an artist from your couch. You know, you got to get out of your house. You got to be willing to share what you have, and you got to be willing to realize that sometimes your work is not always great, and you need to rewrite it.
It's awesome advice. So we've got about like maybe 5 to 10 minutes left here. So um what's next for Daniel Hanover Night in the world kind of thing? What are some goals that things that you're looking forward to, and maybe things you haven't done yet that you'd like to, or things that you'd like to do more of?
Yeah, I'll try to go as quickly as I can. So what's next coming for me is a lot of teaching actually, and I'm working with Camp on developing a drama program with Nathan Copens and Eliza Doyle to bring some theater to reserves and drama education programs to reserves. That's really cool. Next month in April, we have the Feather Entertainment Company is working with the U of S to deliver some film workshops. It's called Seagulls to Eagles. We're going to turn a bunch of amateur filmmakers into eagles so they can fly and soar in the industry. So
Love
you
that.
can check out all that stuff on thefeathernews.com, or sorry, .ca, thefeather.ca, or you can follow us on Instagram, The Feather News on Instagram, or follow me, Hanover Night, on Instagram for details. We have room for 30 applicants, and it's going to be over the course of April and a little bit of May. It'll be on the weekends. You'll go through different types of workshops in the film industry, and you'll get fed every day too. So it's going to be really cool. I think they're like 5-hour sessions.
So what's the cost for that, or what's the tuition for that?
It's free.
Free? Oh my
Yeah,
God,
it's
I'm
free.
gonna apply.
Yeah, yeah. No, please do, please do.
Yeah,
We're looking for people from all different walks of life to come and
yeah.
learn how to do this. So yeah, so please apply for it. We only have room for 30 applicants, and then yeah, hopefully the program goes well, and we'll do it again next year. Yeah, but yeah, it's so far it is free. So check us out there. After that, there's some really cool stuff. I can't. When you're working in the industry, you can't talk about anything because there's so many
Yeah.
NDA
Top secrets.
agreements and all this stuff. But there's some cool projects that I'm waiting to hear back from that I'm really excited to work on. Kind of behind the scenes kind of stuff. Same with some theater stuff I can't say anything about. All this stuff. That's the life of an artist. You can't. There's all this stuff you got to do,
Yeah.
but you can't talk about it. But you got to
Oh,
promote
secret.
yourself somehow. All this
Yeah.
stuff.
I remember I got a phone call from CBC about the poetry prize, and they're like, "Okay, so here's the thing: you've been longlisted and you've been shortlisted, but you don't win, but you can't tell anybody."
It's so
And then
silly.
I had to go like do an interview where they're like, "So maybe you're gonna win," and I'm like, "Ha ha ha, yeah."
Oh God,
I have
you have
to
to be an
pretend
actor
that
in
I
that
don't know.
moment. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
something I can talk about.
Uh-huh.
Um, Me and Sean Cuthan run an open mic comedy rooms. We run two rooms in town here. One is at the Black Cat Tavern. It's every second Thursday. So next Thursday we'll be doing an open mic there, and then we run another show called Sunday Night Heat. Sunday nights at Art Bar. It's on 20th Street in Saskatoon. So if you're looking to have a laugh, come to our open comedy. Come to our open mic comedy, where we're always working on new material. Or if you want to tell jokes, please come down, and we'll give you 5 minutes to try it out. And we're always looking for new talent and stuff like that. We really want to grow the comedy scene here in Saskatoon. We really want to we really want to just promote our Saskatoonian peoples and grow a big, nice arts community here in Saskatoon. And then at Three Hall, May 8th, we have this new format of a show. It's called We Killed Tony. It's kind of a play on this popular podcast called Kill Tony with Tony Hinchcliffe, where comedians come and deliver some comedy, like amateur comedians, and then they do it in front of like an audience, and they do it in front of professionals, and the professionals then critique them and make fun of them and stuff like that. So we did our first version of it last month at Three Hall here with Bloom Entertainment. Shout out to Corey and Saul; they're great guys. And we sold out. We had a really great time. Everybody who came and saw the show freaking loved it. And we're doing another one May 8th. And that was probably the most funnest I've had doing a comedy show because I curate this list of comedians and they come up, they do their time. And then we have this panel, me, Sean, and it was Joel Jeffries last time, but it's going to be Miles. No, it's going to be Junior. It's going to be Daryl Cushman, Junior. We call him Junior. We call him Junior, but Daryl Cushman, he's super hilarious, and that's really fun. And as panel members, we can't come up with any pre-written material. All our material has to be on the spot and spontaneous. So it's
Oh,
really
wow.
dangerous, and it's really and the
Wow.
stakes are really high. And yeah, we freaking crushed it last time, and
So it's
we'll
kind of
hopefully we'll
improvish, like it's
super super improvish. So
wow.
yeah, so come check that out at Three Hall. Follow Bloom Entertainment
Where's
for
Three Hall?
tickets. Three Hall is where the hose used to be, so it's
Ah,
on Broadway
gotcha. The old
across
hose
from
and hydrant.
Victoria School. Three Hall,
Yes.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So I could talk about that. What else can I talk about? Yeah, I don't know if I can talk about anything else that's
Music,
coming up.
theater.
Oh yeah, music. I'm working on an album. I'm working my first debut album. Yeah, that's going to come out hopefully this year. I'm working with Brody Mohinger, and yeah, it should be lots of fun and super cool. I'm really excited about it.
And
Yeah.
is that like a solo album or is it Night Switch or
Oh, it's a solo album. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah,
Is it a
so
comedy album or is it a music album, to be clear?
it's a music album. It's a
Okay.
music album. Just music that I create. And then I'm also working on a comedy album too this year as well. Hopefully it'll release this year. But yeah, that these things take time. These things take
Oh yeah.
time. Yeah,
Recording
and
takes a
funding
lot of
and
time.
all that shabazz, and you know how it is. You know how it is being a self-producer.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what is your musical like what would you call what genre would you describe it as?
That's the best. One of the problems I've been having because I recorded like 20 different tracks, and then like the genres they're all over the place. I have some like metal songs. I have some like pop songs. I have some country songs. I have some folk songs. So it's kind of just all over the place. And so I had to whittle it down to 10 songs, and that was its own struggle. Now
Yeah.
these 10 songs, but the album is a tour de force of genres. But yeah, if you like a little bit of folk rock, if you like a little bit of pop, if you like a little bit of like country, that's in there. And the stories are mostly about coming to terms with who you are as a person and looking out into the world and trying to make sense of the world.
Hmm. Interesting. Yeah. And I think that's everybody's path, right?
Yeah,
I was at a lunch and learn today, and I don't know if you know Heather Morrison. I mean,
I
she's a
know Heather.
yeah,
HMO.
yes. So she was doing a thing on public speaking, and she was like, you don't have to like create a new persona. You just have to be yourself authentically and confidently. And I just thought that was like just good advice for life.
No, definitely, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, they say to practice truth is probably the best way to move forward in life, and probably the hardest thing is to practice truth when it comes to yourself. But it only pays off in dividends when you do it.
Hmm. Well, I think that will end on that note, which is great advice for life. Be you. Nobody else can be. That is
Hmm.
that is the end of our time for today here on CFCR 90.5 FM in on Homelands. Thank you to our guest and relative joining us, Danny Knight. Got the name right in this time. You
Yeah,
can catch this episode and others on our YouTube channel. And this is Auntie Andy signing off. Koshi, Kawapa Matinawao Mina. That's all. We'll see you later. Thanks so much, Danny.
you're welcome. Thank you, Kinanes Coleman.